Home is where the heart is and where you should be laid to rest. But that can be tricky when you live in the diaspora. It's expensive and bringing a body back can be complicated, turning a peaceful farewell into a nightmare. But with EcoShore Diaspora Funeral Cover, you can prepare your final trip back home with ease. You can add dependents, giving you all access to a payout to help with financing a funeral. Sign up for EcoShore Diaspora Funeral Cover today by visiting www.ecoshore.co.zw/diaspora.
Is that a breakup? I think we have a situation right here. On the filling station.
Hello.
Hello, hi.
What's up?
Good.
Finally, we get to connect.
I know.
It's been a hectic week for you, huh?
It was, but I got time to rest, so I'm good now.
We thank God. Welcome to the Feeling Station.
Thank you.
For those listening to this podcast for the first time, it's a romantic family and friendship breakup podcast showcasing stories that people would like to talk about with a view to give you lessons from their experiences. Now, I hope you find today's story entertaining, but more importantly, meaningful. And just so you know, the podcast is really popular for two main reasons. The first being I do my best to keep my guests anonymous by picking a name from the African continent that we'll use for the duration of the episode. Are you ready for the name that I have for you?
Yes, I'm so curious.
You sound like you're looking forward to this quite a bit.
I am.
Right, your name is coming from Cabo Verde, which some people call Cape Verde. But then I tried to give it a bit of a Portuguese spin because it's actually a Portuguese colony. And the name that I have for you is Margarida.
Ooh.
Yeah, you're saying, ooh, why? Do you like margarita drinks?
Not really, because I'm a sober girl, but the margarita.
Okay, so your name is Margarida, with a DA at the end. And what that means is symbol of beauty and purity.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful.
I know, right? That I really like the meaning of. So that's the name that you can use for the duration of the episode. Hopefully you remember that. And what are you calling the guy that you're talking about today?
The name is kind of a bit funny, but it's the perfect name for him. Mm-hmm. I'll call him the pastor in quotes.
Hey, we got another pastor in the house. Another man of God in the house. And you call him the pastor in quotes. I'm not even going to ask why it's in quotes because I'm secretly hoping it's going to reveal itself in the story.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So this is about, this is so funny. On one end, margarita almost sounds like an alcoholic drink. And then on the other spectrum, you got a pastor.
I know.
Jeez. Okay, so this is about Margarita and the pastor. And the second reason why the podcast is really popular is the real life lessons that people walk away with from your story. So what would you like anybody listening to today's episode to walk away with?
So I thought this through a lot of times and I came up with 7 lessons.
7?
Yeah.
Yo, that's a mud thing. Okay, well, let's have it. What's the first one?
The first one is trust is fragile and essential. Trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship.
100%. Oh, I like that a lot. Got a second, number 2?
Number 2 is cheating is about the cheater, not you. Infidelity is a choice made by the person who cheats. Yeah.
Yes. Number 3?
Number 3, communication and boundaries matter.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Number 4?
Self-worth is not defined by another person's actions. Being cheated on does not mean you're not enough. It reflects other person's inability to honor the relationship.
That is really powerful. Because the temptation is to look inward whenever something like that happens and think that you were the reason why something has happened.
Yes,
But
yes.
then they've had an opportunity to either say yes or no to crossing that line, and they've said
Exactly.
yes. So, hey, how is that your problem?
I know.
Nice. Number 5.
5 is forgiveness is for you, not them.
Mm.
Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It means releasing anger so it doesn't consume you.
Hey, you've had time to think these through, yeah?
Yeah, I did.
Wow. Okay. And number 6.
Number 6 is healing takes time. Be kind to
Oh
yourself.
yeah, 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 yeah. Because we all
And
want to have a state of peace and happiness, don't we? And we want it to come to us as quickly as possible.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's all we want.
Yeah. Okay. And
Yeah.
number 7.
Last but not least,
Mm-hmm.
every outcry has a reason. Make sure you listen.
That is very deep. Every outcry from you internally or from those around you.
No, from those around you.
I like that a lot. Nice. Let me play these back. They're very rich. Yeah,
Yeah.
number 1, trust is fragile and essential. Trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship. Number
Mm,
2, cheating is about the cheater, not you. Infidelity is a choice made by the person who cheats. Number 3,
mm,
communication and boundaries matter. Number 4, self worth is not defined by another person's actions. Being cheated on does not mean you are not enough. It reflects the other person's inability to honor the relationship. That is really deep. I like that a lot.
mm,
Yeah, I really like that a lot. Number 5, forgiveness is not for you. Forgiveness is for you, not them.
mm,
Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It means releasing anger so it doesn't consume you. I think that again is another really important piece. And sorry to dive into this, but the assumption
mm.
is once you forgive and forget and get back on track. But it really doesn't mean that.
Yeah, it
And I really like
doesn't.
how you say it means releasing yourself of the burden of anger for what the person may have done to you and
Yes.
allowing yourself to have peace of mind so that it doesn't consume you anymore. And part of that
Yeah.
equation means detaching from that particular individual.
Yeah, 100%.
Nice. I really like that. Number 6, healing takes time. Be kind to yourself. And number 7, every outcry has a resolution. Make sure you listen. Right, Margarita. Let's get into this. I think this is going to be a juicy one for me. From all of these things, I'm getting a sign of. Tell me where you met the pastor and why you decided you're going to give him a chance to be with you.
Okay, I'm gonna go back a little bit because
Mm-hmm.
I met the pastor through a friend. Like, we used to go to church together,
With the
and
friend.
then yeah, with the friend.
Yeah.
And then the friend introduced me to the pastor because
Mm-hmm.
they lived together.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
I'm assuming your friend was a male friend.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
male.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then from there we connected, and then we started chatting, and eventually the pastor came to our church too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we were all in the same church, like with good friends around,
Yeah.
if I can say so. So then after that, I found out that my brother was dating the pastor's sister.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah. But apparently I didn't know that because I was on and off, like at home, because I was still in high school.
Yeah.
So I didn't know much about what was going on. But
Mm.
then when I came back to the vacation, they told me that they're dating. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So we used to meet a lot in different occasions.
Mm-hmm.
And then during my last year in high school, that's when we connected a lot, and we started talking, started being more than friends, could go on dates, but as as friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then one time he suggested that he wanted to talk to me about something.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm busy in preparing the exams, the final exams. So maybe after we can have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So the exams happened. I came back home after high school, and then we had the conversation. So he was like, "You're a good girl. I want to get to know you. I want to be in a relationship with you and all that because we were good friends and kind of connected in different ways, like
Mm-hmm.
through his sisters, my brother inviting the sister. I felt like I belonged to the family
Mm-hmm.
somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was okay to give it a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I joined the choir after high school.
Okay, you joined the choir because you enjoy singing?
Yeah, I do. I do. And I'm in a choir right now. So
Okay.
I do enjoy it. So I joined the choir. And apparently, it was like a choir formed by the youth at church because most of us grew up together in church and all that, and others could join after. So it was not hard to be amongst the choir and all that.
Right,
So
okay.
yeah, I was there. My brother was there in the choir.
Yeah.
The pastor was there, and then the pastor's sister was also there. So it kind of felt like home
Yeah.
that we decided to, you know, to sing together.
Right.
Yeah. So after that, we dated for, and the relationship was very good and so good to the point like he could come to visit me at home.
Okay.
And my brother knew that we were dating. But unfortunately, after we dated, after like a year of dating, my brother and the pastor's sister broke up. I don't know for what reasons.
Right. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So it felt okay. It felt good. The relationship was good. We could meet in a lot of activities at church, in the choir. You know, it was really good. Like you have someone and all that that you can practice gospel together. You know, it felt nice.
You haven't told me what you liked about him.
Oh, yeah. So he was a good man, like a gentleman, cause he cared about people more than any other guy I've ever met. Like he cared about people, and because, well, it, I'll take you back a little bit.
Mm.
I've, I've in my family we didn't really have a father figure with us. Most of the time, he was there, but he wasn't that father who's caring to the daughters and all that. And then it happened to be like his family too, like his parents divorced, like the mother lived alone and the father lived alone. So we kind of had the same story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we connected through that, and he was caring and he was smart, like tall, brown, handsome. Yeah, it just felt right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because
So,
and the reason why I say that is interesting is I
mm,
don't know too much about this and I don't want to get into the details of it.
mm,
But it almost sounds like you guys had a trauma bond,
yes, yes.
which means high level. You guys had the same stories of
Mm,
unhappy things, which were common
yes.
grounds, and possibly
Mm,
shared a few notes about how both of you coped with those individually. And you
yes.
identified, you saw yourselves in that situation and how either that helped you or how that could have helped you deal with your situation.
Yeah,
And
because
then that became attractive to the two of you. Right.
I remember he used to talk to me about he want to be a better man than his dad was ever was. So it kind of felt like there was more to him that had to be explored.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we dated for a year,
Mm-hmm.
like from 2018 to 2019. And then in 2020, before COVID, there came a new girl in the choir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna call him a girl, just a girl.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah, so she came in the choir, and just like any other person joining a choir, so we sang in the same voice. If you know the voices in the choir, like
What?
I
What are
sing.
you? Are you soprano?
No, I'm an alto.
So both of you sang alto.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So since I was used to the choir and used to the song, we kind of became friends because I
Right.
was teaching her the songs,
Yeah.
teaching her how, and all that. So after some time, I heard different stories that that girl is trying to pursue the pastor.
Mm.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, funny. Then I talked to the pastor, and then I asked him, like, how do you feel about that? Because all of the people are whispering, are saying that the girl is into you. So what are you gonna do about that? And then he was like, I I don't think I don't think that's the case. I think people are just assuming.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it would be the case, I don't think I would be that interested because, I'm in a relationship with you. Everybody knows. So I don't think there'll be something to pursue about that. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, it's just that, people are talking about it and all that. He was like, never mind, it's just people talking.
Mm.
So I remember I got an internship after after my high school.
Mm-hmm.
I got an internship, and then it could keep me busy from like 8 in the morning to 6. So it was really busy, and sometimes I could miss choir practices due to that internship and all that.
Yeah.
So in that process, I started hearing rumors that they're not dating. I'm like,
Mm.
come on, seriously, guys. Like, the girl is new, and it's not like they can be dating. You can't just see two people talking and assume they're dating, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I could go in the choir, but there's how you see two people talking and it's kind of fishy. You're like, what are they talking about? Because the girl was new and she didn't have a lot of friends,
Mm-hmm.
but for some reasons, she seemed close with the pastor.
Right.
And then I didn't care that much because I was like, I knew the pastor was a friendly person. Like, he was friendly to any person, whether you meet in the road, whether it's the child passing through the road. He was friendly to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, that's him being him. And then I started getting insecure because every time that I was at the internship, people would call me and be like, hey, where are you? I'm like, I'm at work. What's happening? And then they're like, I just saw the pastor and the new girl in the road. I'm like, which road? I'm like, the road near the church. Because I lived near the church and the
Mm.
guy also lived near the church. So I was like, that's where the guy lives though.
Mm.
He will be walking anywhere. So why is it a big deal? I was like, the big deal is he's with a girl. I'm like, you're just assuming. It kept going on like that, hearing rumors and all that, but I could only get confirmation from the pastor. So I could go talk to him and be like, so I'm hearing this and this. Is it true? And he's like, no, it's not. People are just, you know, because he was like, people just assume things because I'm talking to a person, but I don't see a problem in talking to a person. I'm like, yeah, there's no problem unless there's another connection that is there that I don't know.
Right.
Like, no, it's just being friendly and all that. I'm like, okay. So I remember I was walking, like it was on a Sunday, and then I decided to take a walk. And then I was walking in the neighborhood, and then I saw a guy that was so similar to the pastor. I'm like, is it him? And then I decided to stay away so that I would see if that's the person.
Mm,
And then I saw it was him. I didn't call him because I wanted to see where he's heading.
mm.
And then through the way, I saw the girl
Oh,
with him. Yeah.
right. So,
I was
so he wasn't walking with her initially,
no, like it kind of like he was going to pick her up.
and he was walking.
Yeah, and he was
So, what,
walking.
you were following him the whole time?
I wasn't. I was just taking my normal walk, and then I happened to see him, and we're going in the same direction, just that he was a bit in front of me. So
Right.
I was like, let me just follow him and see where he's going. And then to find out that he was going to pick the girl up, I'm like, okay. And then I called him immediately and he didn't pick up.
Mm,
I'm like, okay, this is fishy. But, I didn't want to cause trouble because I'm not good with drama and all that.
mm-hmm.
I was like, let me get home, then I'll call him and see what he has to say.
Yeah.
So after like 3 hours, he called me back, was like, hey, I missed your call. And I'm like, yeah, because I called you when I was seeing you in the road and you didn't pick up. And I just wanted to say hi. I was like, you saw me? I'm like, yeah, I saw you. I was like, was I alone? Or I'm like, yeah, you were alone.
Okay. Mm,
Yeah, he was. And then I'm like, yeah, you were alone, but you just didn't pick up. I was
mm.
like, oh, I'm so sorry. I was rushing to buy something on the supermarket. Maybe that's probably why. I'm like, okay. I'm like, so you didn't happen to have a visitor or anyone? He's like, no, why would I have a visitor?
Oh, here
And
we
then I
go.
was like,
Mm,
nigga, come on.
mm.
Why are you lying? And then I'm like, okay, cool, fine. I just wanted to say hi. And, you know, I ended the call. So after some times, the new girl had a surgery for, like, we had a pimple that built into something. So they had to perform a surgery.
Right.
And because we were in the same choir, we had to go visit the girl.
Mm,
So we went to visit the girl, but the pastor was not there.
mm-hmm.
Yet it was the whole choir, but for some reasons the pastor didn't show up. And then I texted him and I'm like, "You're not coming?" He said, "No, I got stuck at work and all that." I'm like, "Okay, fine." Then we visited her, and then because we sang in the same, like we were in the same voice. For some reasons, we were kind of friends. Just we could talk about anything, generic things, and all that.
Mm.
So when he was about to stand up and go to get something, she left me with her phone. And then for some reasons I didn't care much. So we were taking pictures and then I was trying to send the pictures to her. So
So,
during
so hang on. You just happened to be taking pictures on her phone.
no, I was using my phone
Oh, okay.
and then she told me, please, when you're done taking pictures, send the pictures to me.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then when I was sending the pictures, I saw a message popping up. Like for some reasons, it happened by default. I was
Mm.
about to slide it up, but accidentally opened the message.
On her
And
phone.
then yes, on her phone.
Okay, yeah.
And then the message said, "Hey my love, I miss you. I'm sorry I didn't show up today."
So out of curiosity, when the name popped, I mean, when the message popped up, it popped up under whose name?
She saved him as there's this word called mahal.
Uh-huh.
It means love. In I don't remember the
Okay.
language.
So you saw a
Yeah.
message come in from Mahal,
From mahal.
and then you accidentally tapped on it?
No, I was trying to send the pictures. You know, when you're scrolling down to an iPhone and then you're trying to open AirDrop and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what happened. I slid it down and then the message popped up. So it kind of felt like I opened the message.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. As in, if you slide down from the top right hand corner, it brings up the menu
Yes.
that allows you to do AirDrop. So you accidentally,
Exactly.
okay, no, I get it now, because I was about to say, Margarita. That's a bit suspicious, but I get it
No,
now,
no, no, no.
because
It happened the same time. Like I was scrolling down.
if a notification does come from the top and you are about to scroll down to activate AirDrop, it will be in the area that a message would come in and you can tap accidentally.
Exactly.
Okay, right.
That's what happened.
Okay, yeah,
And then I was like, oh, the girl has a boyfriend, I'm sorry.
yeah.
And then I was curious to know who's the boyfriend because the way you tap on the contact person to see the photo, there was no photo. When I checked the number, Tinto, it was the pastor's number.
But why were you doing that? Because it's not your phone.
I was just curious,
For what reason?
I don't know.
No, let's be honest, because that's really none of your business.
Yeah, it was none of my business, but I was like, I had this thought in mind, a bit like, so they used to say they're chatting and they're in love and all that. They have this situationship that is going on. I'm like, and then the girl has a girlfriend, has a boyfriend.
So you were suspicious then,
I was suspicious.
and
I'm
you wanted
like,
to confirm your suspicion.
yes.
It's a bit funny that your suspicion coincides with the message dropping in at the same time, at the time
I
that
know,
you
right?
are. Yeah,
I
it's
know. It's God answering my prayers, I guess.
okay.
So when I checked the number, Tinto, it was the fastest number. I was like, what?
Mm.
I'm like, hey, love, really? So that made me scroll to all the conversation.
So at this point, does she know that you're going through her phone?
No, she doesn't because she's not around. Like, she left me with her phone.
Yo.
And then, Tinto, people were in a serious relationship and I felt left out. I was like, okay, what is happening? And the fact that we were in the same, like, it was the choir that visited, so there were people around. I didn't want to show any reaction on my face. It was so hard.
What were you feeling in the moment?
I was feeling very disappointed. I'm like, no, like, people were telling me this. I didn't want to believe them. And then suddenly it turned out to be true.
Mm,
Where was I? Like, why am I so blind on this? Like,
mm.
when did it happen? So I closed the chat because I got all I wanted to see. And then yeah, we continued. She came back. I was like, oh, I sent you the pictures. She was like, okay, thank you. And then she got her phone back. So from that moment, I started getting so suspicious about whatever he was doing. And then when I got home, I was feeling so sad. And then I called him. I was like, how are you? Where were you? Was like, I was at work and all that. And then I'm like, so I'm gonna tell you this, but I don't think you'll take it the right way. So I told him what happened. I'm like, so I happened to stumble on your message that you were writing to her, and it said this and this.
Mhm.
And then the guy was like, it's nothing serious. It's just that we connected and she started calling me love and I called her love, but it's not a big deal. I'm like, hold on a minute. So when you call her love and you call me love, like, what's the difference?
Mm,
To whoever can read the message or to whoever could hear you.
mm.
And then he had, you know, when you know someone, you know the weakest points, you know?
Mm.
So he had this ability to make me believe that whatever he's telling me is the truth and the rest are lies.
Right.
I don't know how he did it, but I just happened to believe whatever he was telling me. So he told me that, trust me, you're the only one I love. And everybody knows, you think I can have another girlfriend, yet the whole choir knows that you're my girlfriend. That would be silly. It's just that we are friends and we happen to. And then I was like, so why were you apologizing for not showing up?
Mm.
And then he was like, it's because, we had planned to visit. So I was like, I'm sorry I didn't show up, just in a friendly way.
Mm.
And then I didn't buy it, but I was like, I let it slide
Why did you let it slide?
because I felt like that was not a enough reason for me to get angry and all that. Yet I don't know anything about it. I just read the text and there was nothing which was showing that they are in a relationship or anything.
So you said when you're reading the text, you were trying to avoid your face showing that you were really disappointed at what you were reading and you were shocked.
Yes.
Now you're saying that wasn't enough reason for you to leave. What would have been enough reason for you to leave?
I don't know.
Seeing naked pictures?
Probably, I guess. Because at the moment, I felt like, when there was this situation where the girl maybe is forcing herself to him. That's the way I kind of took it. Because the guy, like, because when we were together, like the three of us, the guy would really show that I'm his girlfriend. So I
Mm.
was like, whoever, like however much she wants to take him or however much they're in relationship, I don't think you feel respected enough when the guy you're loving or you're in a relationship with is with another girl right in front of you.
So
So I was like,
it sounds like you're making excuses for him for you to be okay.
yeah.
And so far, you've just said to me that you liked him because you had trauma bonded. He had had a bad experience, you had a bad experience, now you're
Mm,
together.
yeah.
This is another bad experience that is starting to brew.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have hung around. And I know you're doing this in retrospect. You know, it's not the current. But
You know,
when you could,
I
I'm sure you could tell that this is something about this is really fishy. That's why he went into the phone in the first place.
yes.
And God just happened to bless you with the notification coming with the phone in your hand.
Yes.
But by that point, you now had the confirmation that something is genuinely going. You've seen him for himself. I mean, for yourself, walking with her. You've seen the
Yeah.
message. You've had an explanation, which is a bit wishy washy. This is perfect for you to leave.
Mm.
Why did you stay?
I feel like we've known each other for a long time and we've been friends through the whole process. And then after being friends, we decided on being in a relationship. I felt like it was someone that I held so close to my heart that I didn't want to give up right away.
Sounds like nostalgia. You wanted to hang on to the friendship of old and
Yes.
the romance of new,
Yes.
which also is the perfect opportunity to leave it
I didn't think,
because it's so new and it's not matching with what you know him to be. There's a disconnect.
yeah. So apparently, because I didn't know him as such the person that he would do that to me. So I kind of felt like there was more explanation that I needed to get before I decide on what to do because that wasn't the person that I knew to begin with. So I was like, no, this can't be him. I mean, there's
Mm.
more to the story that I need to know before I decide on what to do.
It's the initial shock, isn't it?
Yes, it's the initial
Yeah,
shock. I'm like,
because when someone isn't what you imagine them to be, it's the shock to say, wait a minute.
Mm,
which version of you am I dealing with? The one that I
yes.
know of and I've got years worth of experience and I can back up, or this
Mm,
new one which I don't have enough time to understand. So I'm going to give it time so that I'm clear what it really
yeah.
is. Okay.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Okay. Yeah.
So, go fast forward. There came another girl in the choir.
Ah, tell me she sings alto as well.
Yes.
Ooh, Shem. Okay. Mm,
So, in the career of us singing and all that, he happened to develop a career of also preaching. Like he couldn't preach to the whole church, but he could preach to the few prayer seminars and all that. So that's why I called him the
the
pastor.
pasta, yeah, yeah.
'Cause- yeah. And then there came a new girl in the choir.
Mm,
So just like me being me, trying to make her feel comfortable and all that. So apparently there was another group of girls. I would say that yeah, like a group of girls the same in our choir. They were they were best friends to say so. And then they happened to be close with the pastor's sister. So since they lived together, they could go visit her at their home.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, so they could talk about everything, talk about other girls and all that. And they happened to talk about me.
mm,
And the guy came in my defense and he was like, Whoever you decide to talk to, don't talk about my girlfriend."
mm,
Yeah. So
mm-hmm,
I got that from him. He was telling me, girls are funny how they just sit and talk about people and they don't even know what you are about. He was so pissed at the moment. I
mm,
was like, it's cool. It's girls being girls. They can talk about anything.
mm.
It was like, no, not not in my
Not
house.
my girl, yeah. Not in my
Not my
house.
girl.
Don't talk about my girl like that.
Exactly. So I
Mm-hmm.
felt like, okay. And then the new girl came. Apparently, they had her and the pastor had a family relationship. They were related, but in the extended families, kinda.
Mm,
So he told me that. I was like, okay, then that's cool. You guys could talk and all that. He was like, no, I don't know her. It's just that I happen to know her family, that we're kind of related and all that, but I don't know her.
mm,
I'm like, no, it's okay. You can get to know her and be like, cause she knows you're related. So you ain't gonna act like you're not related.
mm,
Yet she's new. So you gotta be friendly and all that.
mm,
So me being me, I was okay with them being friendly because I knew they were related and all that.
mm.
So relatives became relatives. They could go.
Hmm.
Yeah, they
The
could
only
go.
saying that's coming whilst I'm listening is cousins make dozens.
Yes, that was
Mm.
the case.
Mm-hmm.
They got connected, and I was pretty okay because whenever they were together, I was also around. So
Mm,
it didn't feel like I was being left out or they were having other conversations that I didn't know about. So I was there and they were there too. So, which was okay. And then it happened to be one day I was with that girl. Okay, now they're becoming a lot of girls. The two
yeah.
new girls,
Mm-hmm.
the two new girls and me. So we're three of us.
Yeah.
And then we were talking just like how girls talk, I have a boyfriend, la 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 la. And then they were so supportive. But like the other situation that happened before, I didn't tell the girl that I went through her phone and I saw what I saw. So I kept it neutral with her. And then,
Why were you being so cordial with somebody who's clearly messing with your man?
I mean, it wasn't me being cool. I just wanted, you know how they say, keep your friends close, your enemy closer. So that was what I was doing. I was like, whatever you're gonna do, you're gonna have to do it in front of me.
It sounds to me like you keeping things like that because remember, this guy's just shocked you and you don't know which version of him you're dealing with.
Mm,
And so, whatever it is that you'd have found out by keeping quiet would have supported that view to say, okay, I suspected you might be a dodgy guy. And now I'm keeping this girl close to validate that. That's what it sounds to me like. Like you're trying to build a case so that whatever decision you decide to take, you're doing it based on really good founded information.
yes, that's what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to tell any of them because they would start acting weird.
Yeah, they'll start acting differently, and then you couldn't build your case and support yourself in terms of what you
Yeah,
were trying to
exactly.
build.
Yeah.
Interesting, because that's your lesson number 4. Self worth is not defined by another person's actions.
Yes.
I see where this is going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So we were chatting and all that. I was like, I have a boyfriend and all that. He's so nice and all that. So the relative like, she asked me, she was like, are you sure he loves you? Like, are you sure you're the only one? I'm like, yeah, so far I haven't heard
Mm.
gossip and all that.
Mm.
She's like, yeah, that's nice. We're happy for you. And then the other girl was like, it's so nice to have, you know, a boyfriend. I wish I had someone too. I'm like, your time will come. Yeah. So
Okay.
there happened to, like, I went to visit the relative, and for some reasons she had, like, she was telling me stories, and then the other girl came up, and then I'm like, why are you bringing her in the conversation? She was
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm concerned about you. Like, how don't you know that they're dating? Me, I know.
Hey.
I'm like, wait a minute, how do you know? You're new in the choir and all that. It's like she was like, there's some things you don't know about because you're kinda innocent and all that.
Mm, 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 mm,
So I was like, so do you have proof of what you're talking about? And then she was like, I'm gonna call her
mm,
on
mm,
the phone
mm.
and we have a normal conversation like girls do. You be quiet and listen to the conversation.
Hey, bana.
And then I'm like, okay, you can call her. So she called her. She was like, hey, how are you? How are you doing? How is your man? And then she was like, my man is okay, but I'm bothered because, she has a girlfriend, she's in love with Margarita and all that, and people know that they're in love. But honestly speaking, the guy always tells me that he's into me. He's planning to break up with Margarita so that he
Yay.
can be with me.
Okay.
I was like, wait a minute.
Mm.
And then they talked about, all the stuff, and then she hung up. And then the relative was like, I told you so. You don't know anything. I'm like, but it doesn't even seem like they're together because every time we're in the same group, it happens to know it happens to look like they don't even know each other.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
but
they
that,
don't
but,
even
but that's what
talk
they're
to
gonna
each
do,
other.
though. I mean, that's what they're gonna do, though, so that they don't raise suspicion with you, right?
Yeah.
So they were doing the. In fact, it was working if you couldn't see it
Yeah.
and if you recognize it as such.
Hmm.
Okay.
And then I was so shocked and felt so bad. And then the worst kept getting worse. So the girl was like, I wanted to tell you this too. Like, I wanted you to hear it from me. And then she was like, the pastor is also pursuing me. I'm like, oh, you're lying. Now you're making it worse. She was like, no, like I told you, I have proof everywhere. So she
Wow.
brought out her phone. I read the chats. And yeah, the pastor was pursuing her.
Like, well, what was he saying?
He was like, it's so nice to have a new person in the community. Because other girls that are there, they're just, basic, and you're outstanding amongst them. And the funny thing was, he wasn't talking about me. He was talking about me and the other girl. And then the girl asked, but I heard you have a girlfriend and all that. It's like, no, we're just good friends. We we're just good friends. We talk about everything. Our families know each other, but I don't really love her as much as I'm into you right now. And
Mm.
then I was I was very shocked and I started crying in front of her. I was so betrayed. Like I started talking to the girl and I opened up to her. I was like, we grew up together. We had this and this. We had this and that. All the story to the girl.
Mm.
And then I went home very, very unhappy and very, very sad. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel like talking to him and all that. So after like 3 hours, he called me.
It,
Honestly, I didn't want to pick up, but
it's
I
always after
also,
3 hours, though, isn't it?
I know for
Yeah,
some
because
reasons,
previously you
I
said
don't
after
know.
3 hours, the guy called you. Okay, right.
Yeah, for
Mm-hmm.
some reasons, I don't know why. But,
Mm-hmm.
and then I didn't want to pick up, but I also felt frustrated that all my anger, I wanted to let all my anger out and confront him of whatever he's doing.
Right.
So I picked up the call.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing, the first thing, oh God, the first thing that he asked me was, how dare you tell my story to girls? Like, why are you putting our life outside? I'm like,
Right.
hold on a minute. What
Mm.
do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, why are you going everywhere telling people our story? They don't deserve to know. Some of you hate, some of them hate you. They don't want to listen to your good story and all that. Why are you there telling everyone? I'm like, wait a minute. Who did I tell?
Mm.
And then he was like, you talked to my relative and all that. I'm like, wait a minute. So she called you?
Mm-mm.
And apparently, Tinto, the girl, after I left, the girl called the guy
Mm.
and she was like, your girl is very stupid. She's very stupid. She thinks she's the only one that you have. And apparently, she's talking to me, opening up, like everything that I felt confident in opening up to her,
Mm.
went
Oh,
and told him.
right.
And then, Tinto,
Mm.
I felt embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wait a minute. So you guys have that connection to the point that, like, she comes to tell you all that. Like, would you explain that to me? Like, how are you guys connected so that you talk about everything? And then the guy,
Were you saying this because at this point you didn't know they were relatives?
no, I knew they were relatives,
So why asking such a question?
but it was different because to them, it it was like they were getting to know each other in a way that the guy wanted to pursue her, not the relative part. Because I knew how open he could be on the relatives, and he wasn't open to her in that way.
Mm.
So I got pissed. Apparently, like, he knew everything that I had said, and that was the only case instead of considering the fact that I found out that he's pursuing one, two girls in the same choir.
Mm.
And then after that, it felt unreal and it felt just there, if I can say it. I started feeling betrayed. I started feeling like I don't even know this guy anymore because there's a whole situations that are being developed over time that I don't even have a clue about.
How long had you been
So
dating for at this point? How long had you been boyfriend and girlfriend?
2 years.
Mm.
Yeah. So yeah, it continued like that. And then we could talk, yes, but I always felt like there was an explanation that I wanted from him. Like he had to explain to me what was going on. And then in the middle of that, COVID came
Mm.
and we were in lockdown. So we couldn't see each other. We could just talk. So you remember I told you that I lived near the church,
Yeah.
but during COVID,
Mm.
we moved far from the church, like really far.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was very sad because, COVID had curfew, we could meet up and then get back home. But due to the curfew, I couldn't come from where we lived, like where we had moved, and then get back in time.
Mm.
So most of the time it was really hard unless I had to wake up early in the morning and then went to see him so that the curfew will find me home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so one time I decided that I would go visit him.
Mm.
Oh, by the way, I left out that we were intimate.
At what point did you get intimate?
Like the last point.
So 2 years in, that's when you started being intimate?
No, 1 year in.
Oh, 1 year
Yeah,
in. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
And then I moved from home, went to visit him. We missed each other. It's been like a month, something like that. We missed each other. I went there in the morning. Then he cooked for me. We ate. We had a good chat and he apologized for everything. I was like, I'm so sorry. You know how friendly I can be. So sometimes I be too friendly and people mistake it for being flirty and all that. Or I become friendly and find myself in a situation that I didn't plan
Yeah,
and all that.
whatever. Okay.
I know. I was
Mm.
like, it's it's cool as long as you admit what you did. It's cool. We're cool. Yeah, he asked for forgiveness. I forgave him. And then we were good. So in that moment, I spent the whole day there. So it was really nice. I was very happy and all that. But during that time, like he kept declining a call. Like I didn't see the call or who was calling, but he kept declining a call.
Mm.
So I didn't care much about it. When I asked him, he was like, "It's at work and I don't want to pick up." I'm
Right.
like, "Okay, cool." Then I decided to go. Like it was about time that I went because we had curfew. And then I was like, I gotta go and all that. So I said bye, went home. So on my way home,
Mm.
he called me.
Mm.
He was like, "Hey, I want to talk to you urgently. When you reach home, talk to me." I'm like, "Wait a minute. I was just right there in front of you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's up? What's going on?" And then and then he was like, "No, it's okay. Don't worry. It's cool. I just want to talk to you when you reach home." I'm like, "You can talk to me right now, or I can come back and we talk." I was like, "No, it's cool. Just get home." So I felt scared.
Uneasy, yeah.
Yeah, uneasy. I was like, what's going on? We were just together the whole day. The whole day. What is happening? But then I reached home, and immediately while entering, I called him. I'm like, hey, I reached home. What's up? No, before I called him, and it was on hold. Like he was talking on the phone
Yeah.
for like 10 minutes.
Mm.
I kept calling during the call, and then he didn't pick up. I was like, okay, let me just leave it. He'll call me back. So he called me back. And then I was like, hey, how comes you say you want to talk to me urgently? Then when I call you on another call. And he's like, sorry. I had, you remember the call I was declining at work. So I called them back and all that. I'm
Mm.
like, okay, cool. So what's up? What's happening? And then he told me, you know how we've been friends and then we decided to be in a relationship and all that. So, but during our relationship, you know, the girls that came in that were disturbing our relationship and all. I'm like, okay, I know, but
Right.
get to the point.
Mm.
What do you want to say? So he's like, so during that and all this, I I fell in love with another girl.
Mm.
I'm like, what? What do you mean by that? Like, how do you explain to me? We were just few minutes together. Like we were happy and all that. How you telling me you love me? You just apologized and all that. Then where is this coming from? It's
Mm.
like, please understand me. I'm in love with another girl and she doesn't like it that I haven't ended this relationship. So I gotta end this relationship. And I was so shocked. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to believe, or I was just shocked. And then and then he called and then he said, I asked him, so is it among the two girls?
Mm.
He was like, yes. I'm
Mm.
like, which one?
Mm.
Like, which one? I know there are two, but which one? And then Tinto, it turned out to be the relative.
Mm. Mm.
I'm like, really? You're going for her? Then he says, yeah, I'm going for her, and I wish you all the best, and all that.
Mm. Mm.
And then he hang up.
Mm.
Tinto, it was like we were together. Like I couldn't believe it. We were together the whole day. He couldn't bring himself to tell me what was going on. And
Yeah, go on.
apparently, the other call that he was declining
Was her.
every time, it was her.
Mm.
And then I'm like, so explain this to me. How did you come up to this decision? Like, where did I go wrong? But he couldn't, he couldn't say anything exact. It was like, I'm just in love with her. I'm like, so you're throwing away the 2-year relationship we've been in, regardless of all the circumstances and all that what was there. You're just gonna throw that away. And I was like, yeah.
Wow.
I was heartbroken and I didn't know what to do. I was so depressed for like a week. I couldn't pick anyone call. I was very, very sad.
I've got a question
And
for you.
yes,
Whilst you're telling me all of this, why was it important for you to mention that you were intimate with him?
it was very important because during during the argument with the girls and all that, one day I left this out, but one day I was at his place and then uh, I had his phone. Then I saw a message popping up.
Why
That
did you?
message,
But why did you have his phone, by the way?
I was at his place, and it's just normal to have your boyfriend's phone anyway.
It's not normal for me.
Okay. It wasn't like I had his phone going through his chats and all. I had his phone because I was playing the music. So
Mm.
the message popped up. The number wasn't saved. I didn't know the number, but the number said, I miss I miss you in me.
Hmm. Okay.
And I miss how intimate we get. I miss you. Like it had it had all the details that I didn't want to know, but it
Right.
had all the details.
Mm.
And when I saw the message, like when I was about to react, like the pastor's brother entered the house.
Mm.
So I couldn't react. I just stood there and in mute. Like I was so shocked when I was about to ask, the brother came in. So I'm like, I ain't gonna ask when the brother is around.
Mm.
So I went home. Then when I reached home, I called him and I'm like, why do you have that message in your phone? Who is that sent you that?
Mm.
And then he was like, you read it wrong. I'm like, no, I know what I read. Just don't play games with me. And
Mm-hmm.
then to find out it was the other girl in the choir, like the first girl.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So I was like, why would you do that to me? Like, what are you looking for? Because apparently I'm giving all that I can. Then what are you looking for? But apparently he had no answer to that question. So it was just there.
But was this guy by any chance the first guy you had sex with?
Yes, he was my first.
Okay. Um, I thought I'd ask that because the way that you've introduced the whole sex thing, and then you're mentioning how this had made you feel, what you had found, I miss you being inside me, etc., etc. It's that's one of the messages that nobody needs to know of.
Yeah,
You don't want to come across something like that clearly makes you aware that somebody else has been in an intimate space other than you.
yes.
Um, and so it would have made you feel a type of way. But uh, at this point, I think it's starting to feel like that's enough for you to have left. So the reason why I was asking whether he was your first was, was part of this difficulty in you leaving associated with the fact that he was the first person that you had sex with?
I don't think that was the reason though. I think because he was the first guy that I had a serious relationship with, and he was the first guy that I had sex with. And to top it all off, he was my friend that we've known each other for years. So I felt like he was the right person for me. Just he was just messing up.
And you were giving him grace to fix up and
Yes.
get himself together. And then at the time that he's now ready to fix himself up, you'll be waiting and you get yourself back online with him.
Yes.
Ouch. That's a really unfair position to put yourself in.
Yeah, it
Because
was.
what you're basically doing is waiting for the goods to get worn. And then when
Mm,
they're worn and they're not as shiny as you are and as you need them to be, then you allow yourself to take that battered, beaten goods back in
mm.
so that what you fix it up. You make it bright and shiny again.
I kind of felt like there was more to him, and like he was this person that I could see myself with at the end of the day. So I'm like, everybody messes up, and everybody deserves a second chance. So why can't I do that? Because after everything that could happen, he could come forward, apologize for it, and then we're back to normal. So I'm
Yeah.
like, if a person can admit that he was wrong, I
Mm.
think it's fair enough to give him a chance.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, so that was the reason. Yeah. So after he broke up with me, it took me some time to get back on track, but I did eventually. I did meet another guy. So I met the new guy 2021 in March. Yeah.
So November 2020 to March 2021.
Yeah. I
So
was
4 months.
4 months, yes.
Mm, okay.
So I met this guy, was a very good guy, treated like a princess and all that. And then guess what, Tinto?
Wow.
The guy called me after, like, he called me in July. Yeah. And then I was like, why is he bothering calling me? Like,
Mm,
why is he calling me? I didn't answer him. I talked to my current boyfriend. I was like, the pastor called me. Like, do you think I should answer? He was like, yeah, you should answer and listen to what he has to say. So I waited for him to call back. He calls me back and he was like, I need to see you.
mm,
I'm like, you don't have a chance to see me. What do you want?
mm,
It's like, I need to see you because I need to talk to you. Remember, after everything, regardless of how messed up I did, you're still the only friend that I got. I'm like, I'm not buying that because I was your friend and I was your girlfriend at the same time.
mm,
But through all that, you didn't open up and tell me what was going on. And then you decided to just tell me that our relationship is over. You're in love with another person. So I don't see where a friendship role comes in. And then he was like, please listen to me.
mm,
So I thought it through and I was like, okay, it might be serious. Let me just hear him out. So we met and then he looked pale. He looked thin. I'm like, what happened to you? Like, what's happening to your life? Why are you like this? You look like you haven't eaten in years.
mm,
and then and then he was like, it's because I'm living a bad life. I'm like, what happened?
mm,
So it turned out to, you remember he broke up with me to go in another relationship.
mm.
That relationship didn't even last 3 months, Tito.
Mm.
So like the girl could beat him up.
Yep.
Like the girl was so crazy to the point like the guy had to break it off. Like it's like I can't live like this. Because the girl didn't want him to talk to anyone. The girl didn't want him to, like, if I'm calling you, you gotta pick up. If you don't pick up, then it's a fight. Then you're
Mm,
cheating. So
mm.
it was a very unhealthy relationship to the point like the girl could beat the guy, like slapping the guy.
It was a
So when I
physically
heard
abusive
of,
relationship.
yes,
Mm,
when I heard of all that, I felt sorry for him because I knew his story and all that. So adding to that, it didn't sit right. So I was like, I'm so sorry you had to pass through that. But I guess it's karma because there's no way you're going to end up a relationship with a good girl like me and then you think it will just be
yeah.
smooth with you. And then I was like, yeah, I think it's karma and I know how it can punish someone, but honestly, I do regret of how things ended between us. I'm so sorry. He apologized and all that. And then he dared to mention that he wants me back.
Ah, 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 ah.
I'm like, listen, I'm in a healthy relationship. I'm okay. I'm happy. I don't want to take that away. And I don't know why you think you could come back in my life and I accept you.
Yeah.
after everything that you did to me, like you cheated on me with one, two girls that were together in the same choir, and then you called yourself the pastor. Like, who does that? And
Yeah.
you think I would come back to you? That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I left the place and all that, went back and told my current boyfriend of what happened and all that. So he laughed. We laughed about it. And then he asked me this question. I
Mm.
was like, so how do you feel after seeing him and all that? I'm like, I feel sorry for him, but I think, well, nobody deserves that. But
Yeah.
I guess it's karma, you know? And then he was like, so do you think you can get back with him? I'm like, no, why would I get back with him? Because after everything,
This is your current boyfriend asking?
yes.
Okay, yeah.
I was like, so he told me like I know that you guys had a history, like you grew up together kinda, you became best friends and all that. Even though he hurt you in a relationship, but you know, he was someone you held close as your friend.
Mm.
So do you think you'd ever forgive him? I'm like, well, forgiving him is one thing, but getting back in a relationship with him is another
Is
thing.
another, yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, no, I don't think so.
Mm.
So the guy was like, okay, cool. So because we had, like we had connected again, like he could call me for no reason,
Mm.
saying I'm checking up on you. And
Mm-hmm.
because I knew what he passed through the relationship and was abusive, I kind of felt like I wanted to be there for him, you know? And then I could talk to him, check on him sometimes to know how he's doing.
Right.
Fast forward, it reached in November. And then, you know, because of continuing talking to him much, he he told that he wanted to get in a relationship with me again.
What? Had you told him that you had a
Yeah.
boyfriend?
Yeah, I had told him.
And
And then
he felt it was okay to disrespect him by asking you to be in a relationship?
I didn't think he thought of that. I think he was looking on his side only. He was being selfish, I guess.
Right?
Yeah. So because, okay, I'm gonna sound silly, but because of talking to him much and checking up on him a lot, it felt like the connection came back. Like the connection we had came back. So I talked to my current boyfriend. I'm like, so this is the situation that I'm in, and I feel like I want to pursue it and see what it has to offer. Some
Make this make sense to me. You
mm,
told your current boyfriend that my ex has come back and want to give him a chance.
yes,
Oh, wow.
surprising. The guy was very understanding.
The guy was very understanding.
Yes, he was like, I know I've been there. Also did the same thing. Like I was in a relationship, and then afterwards, when my ex came back, I wanted to go again and pursue what I thought was there, but it didn't end well.
Wait a minute. People play too much. At what point is what's an ex? What does an ex mean? I know we're talking retrospectively. This is not your current situation, but
Yeah,
this is just mind-boggling for me.
yeah.
What does an ex mean to you?
I kind of feel like it's an expired relationship. Like,
So why rekindled it? Let's just think about a shop, right?
mm,
Let's say you've gone shopping for food and you've picked a packet of
mm,
vegetables that says that this expires on the 1st of February.
mm,
Are you going to eat it on the 1st of March?
no,
Why?
because it's expired.
So why are you going into something that's expired?
I don't know. I I felt like we had a bigger connection because we were friends, like close friends
No, you were not friends.
that I.
You were not
Yes, we
friends.
were.
No, you were not close friends because a close friend doesn't treat you the way that they were treating you.
True.
They just don't. I mean, you can try and make it colorful as much as you want. Close friends do not do that. Friends with something to gain for personal gain will do that, which means that they're selfish and they're not your friend because they can't compromise things for a friendship.
Hmm.
So he's not your friend. Let's think. Let's talk about the next thing. What was he then?
I felt safe with him, to be honest.
You were not safe. You were not safe because you were checking his messages to look for security that you were never given. So you're not safe. What's the next thing?
It just sits with me right. Cause he was the first love I ever got. And honestly, when I look at it back, the main reason that I kept going back is because I didn't want to lose the man figure that I thought I had in my life due to the trauma that I had before, because my dad was not there and I didn't have anyone there for me. So I thought I would hold tight to whatever that I thought I had so that it wouldn't also go away.
Yeah,
I don't,
that sounds more real.
yeah, because I, I didn't have a father that was there and I wasn't there to hold him when
Mm,
he wanted to leave
mm,
or when he was not acting right.
mm.
So I felt like he was the only man in my life that I had. So I wanted to hold tight so that he wouldn't go.
I get that. Yeah.
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 So my current boyfriend accepted that I could pursue a relationship with the pastor. And then we ended our relationship. So in November, like I told you, and yeah, it was my birthday. So he threw a grand party, like a very, very grand party. Like he
Mm,
invited all my friends and all that.
mm.
And I was really shocked because I'm not that kind of a person who needs grand things. I was shocked, but he apologized in front of all my friends and wishing me a happy birthday.
What did he apologize for?
And for not being the friend that I needed
Mm,
and for betraying me
okay.
and promised to be better.
Mm,
And then because of that gesture and all that, it felt right to forgive him because I'm like, you can't commit in front of all these people and then go mess up,
mm,
right? So I forgave him. We got back together. And then me thinking that it was over, we were going back in a good relationship. So it started getting insecure.
mm,
It started saying we should see each other. And then I, I come to the plan, it gets so furious
mm,
to the point he could not talk to me for days
mm,
because of that.
mm,
And then it got to this point. It's this scenario. So we had to meet, and but I had to meet with my friends after we met.
mm,
So I had told him that I'm coming to see you before, and then when 6 p.m. reaches, I'm gonna go see my friends.
mm,
He agreed. He was like, it's okay, you can do that. So I went to his place, and then we talked, visited him, and all that. We shared lunch together. And then when it reached 6 p.m., I was like, so I'm gonna go. And then he was so dramatic. He was like, "Hey, you don't want to spend time with me. You don't want to be with me." But I'm like, "Wait a minute. I came here at 10 a.m. in the morning. We are at 6, and you had agreed that I'm going to go after this. So why are you making it a big deal?" And then he was like, "Hey, you no longer want to spend time with me. You're just spending time with your friends. You don't care about me. You don't love me anymore." I'm like, but where is this coming from? Like,
Mm,
we we talked about this. You had agreed about this. Where is this coming from?
mm,
It's like, it's okay if you want to leave me, just say it, but don't do it this way.
mm.
But I guess it's so wrong. So place in an agreement in agreement, like arguing, said just leave. I'm like, I ain't gonna cancel my plan because you're just acting up like this.
Mm.
So I went, met up with my friends and all that. So during that time, we were still in the same choir, you remember?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but apparently the other relative quitted, like she went.
Yeah.
She
Mm,
couldn't come back in the choir because I don't know of the situation maybe. But there was the first girl.
mm.
So we were kind of like enemies, but not enemies as such because we could talk. Like,
Right.
I'm like, I don't have nothing to say to you,
Mm,
so I don't know why we can talk. So I when I like I had started university and it required a lot of attention because and took all my time because you remember we lived far and me coming to school and going back and all that. So most of the time we could plan to meet and then it couldn't because I lived far. I was like, if we meet, I ain't gonna get home early and yet tomorrow I have to go to school and all that.
mm,
So it became a big deal. And then he started getting jealous of my friends. If when I say my friends, I mean my girlfriends.
mm,
So every time we could like go out with my friends, he would just show up.
mm.
Like, because I communicated them, like, I'm gonna be with my girls. We are here and here.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, if I don't pick up the phone or if I'm not replying to a text, just know that I'm with my friends.
Right.
So he could just show up. And my girls would just stand. They were like, "Isn't that your boyfriend?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then they're like, "What is he doing here?" Like, I have no idea.
Mm, mm,
So it looked like he was stalking me or something because he didn't tell me he was gonna show up, but then he ended up showing up.
mm,
So it started getting uncomfortable
mm,
because he was very insecure. And then to find out that, there's this saying like people are scared of what they are doing because they think you're doing the same thing.
yeah. I've
Yeah.
I've dealt with that myself.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So he was getting all that insecure because Tinto he was still cheating on me with the other girl.
Mm,
And I found out that he was still cheating. And then when I confronted him about it, he denied it. And then I was like, you know what? This relationship is so unhealthy. Like, you're stalking me. You don't want me to be with my friends. When I tell you I'm going to study, you don't believe that I'm going to study. So it started getting unhealthy.
mm-hmm.
And every time it felt like there was something he was hiding from me that I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
And considering the fact that he had apologized and said that he won't hurt me again, it felt it felt like he was doing it on purpose this time.
Right.
Because how do you tell someone that you want to you're a changed person and then you keep doing the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
So like it was so draining. I I developed this habit of crying out of nowhere. Normally I'm always laughing,
Yeah.
but I could go to sleep and start crying
Mm.
all of a sudden because it felt heavy. And then it added up to the situation which was happening at home. It was just chaotic. And when I tried to talk to him about it, he wasn't there.
What was
Like
happening at
he could,
home?
like my mother and father were in a process of getting a divorce and
Right.
and all that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So he was the only person in my life that I could talk to about, and he wasn't there. And
Mm.
every time that I told him that I was not okay to talk,
Mm-hmm.
he always made it a big deal. He was like, "Hey, you don't want to talk to me. You now don't want me anymore." And I'm like, "No, it's not about you. It's about what's happening at home
He made it
and all
about
that."
himself.
Yes, every
Mm.
time I could come up with a situation or something that is bothering me, he
Mm.
could end up making it about himself.
Yeah.
And then for some reasons, I would end up apologizing for something that I didn't do.
Yeah.
So it felt heavy on me. And then I decided to end the relationship.
Mm.
So when I decided to end the relationship, Tinto, he went talking, bad mouthing about me that I was cheating.
Mm-mm.
And it's so crucial to it was so crucial to me, like I sing in the choir and all that. So he could go around saying that you think she's holy and all that, but she cheated. That's why we ended the relationship. So people could come to me and be like, "Why are you pretending like you were hurt, yet you're the one who cheated?" I'm like, "I never cheated with anyone. He's the one who was cheating every time." But like he always does, he made it about himself. Like he was cheated, he was not treated right, and all that.
Yeah, there's
So
general lack of accountability, wasn't there?
yes,
Mm.
like he didn't want to own up to his mistakes and all that because he was the pastor. He didn't want people to think that he's the one causing all that.
Mm.
So yeah, that's how that's how it ended.
Well, I'm glad you let go of that sore loser. And you know how we talk about, karma came knocking on his door because the relative in quotes became very abusive and physical, right? And he deserved everything bad coming his way.
Mm.
You kind of had a fair dose of karma coming your way too.
I think I'll have another one.
Oh, I'm not gonna get into that. But him then ending up being this way and blaming you for being the one who's cheating, etc., etc. Yeah, could
Yeah,
be a bit of karma. But look, you were just dealing with somebody who didn't care about you. Period.
yeah. He
And
didn't at all.
no, he didn't. And maybe you just needed this experience for it to be clearer to you. Because remember, you had
Yes.
years and years and years and years worth of this is my friend. He looks out for me. That you were in love with. Then it's okay to be like that. And then you
Yes.
needed time to appreciate just how much of an unkind person and inconsiderate individual he was. And he gave you that.
And he made me end a good relationship just for nothing.
Well, you did that by yourself. Don't blame him.
Well, he was there in the picture, so
Yeah,
I
and
blame it all on
yeah,
him.
yeah, and you said yes to him. Okay, let's take some
Mm,
accountability as well for our own actions. That was you.
yeah.
You told a decent man that, hey, I don't want to be with you because I want to go back to the better devil.
Mm,
And kudos to him. He kind of put himself forward somewhere somehow to say, look, I'm not going to be part of this mess, and he left.
yes.
And I hope he's out of the picture completely. Do you guys still talk?
No, never.
Now that's the
Like,
healthy thing to be, right? And I'm not talking about the pastor. I'm talking
mm,
about the guy that you let go.
yeah, we still talk sometimes.
Mm, okay.
Yeah.
Be careful of that,
Yes.
right? Because you let somebody who was into you go, he might still be hurting, and unless you're completely healed, you might be a cause. You might be a reason for him having added pain within his adult relationships, which he does not need.
Mm,
Yeah. So please, please, please tread with that very, very carefully. But yeah, thanks, Margarita, for sharing this story, and I'm glad you've let the pastor go.
yeah,
Yeah,
I did.
because all his actions are really self-centered, and he really just want to stroke his ego for as long as he possibly can.
Yeah, it was really hard for me because I
Yeah.
thought he was someone serious, but yeah, I moved on completely and
Mm,
blocked him everywhere. Like, we can't talk, we can't nothing.
okay, that's good. Does your
Yeah.
current boyfriend know that you once let someone go for someone else to for an ex?
My current boyfriend,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a boyfriend. It's been 3 years
Oh,
after I
right.
let him go.
Okay, right. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thanks for sharing that. Just to play back your lessons, number one, trust is fragile and essential. Yeah, it is very, 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 very fragile. And
Yes.
we are both responsible for giving and receiving trust, right? You
Yes.
needed to trust the pastor. He couldn't deliver the trust you needed. The guy who was current at the time needed to trust you, but he
Yes.
saw that this is not good, so he left. So you're right. And it goes both ways. Trust is fragile and it's essential
Yes.
because it's the foundation of any healthy relationship. Number two, cheating is about the cheater, not you. Correct. Because what they're doing half the time is they're acting in selfish order. They're thinking about self gratification before the gratification of the relationship, which is a joint entity and a joint venture. So
Mm,
totally agree with that. Infidelity is a choice made by the person who cheats. That is correct. Because at the point
yes.
that somebody else either comes to them and say, hey, can I have a piece of you? They have a choice to say yes or no.
Yes.
And they may want to flower it up by saying, oh, I was just curious. Well, what were you curious about? That somebody's already
Mm,
told you that they want you. Did you want to know what it is they could give you that you could benefit from or not?
probably.
So, yes, it is on the person who cheats. Number three, communication and boundaries matter. Yes, they do. I think you could have
Mm,
drawn boundaries at multiple points. One, when you first started hearing rumors, you could have asked him to act right. And then
mm,
when he started incorporating other people, which is the second girl who was an alto, again, there's another opportunity there. You also had physical boundaries because if he was having sex with you, that could have been a boundary you could have withdrawn.
yeah.
Because although we didn't talk about it much here, sex does really have a big part to play in some of the decisions that we make as a person. Because that is
Yeah.
the most intimate that you can be with someone in a personal space. And that's why people really get so upset when somebody else sleeps with your person
Mm,
because it's the most intimate thing to do. So
yeah.
there's those kind of boundaries, and then also there's the boundaries around how much access this ex could have had to you.
Mm,
So I'm glad you brought that up. Number four, self worth is not defined by another person's actions, and I see how this played out during this conversation for you. And then you went on to
yeah.
say being cheated on does not mean you're not enough. It reflects the other person's inability to honor the relationship.
Mm.
Have you been able, just whilst I'm on that, have you been able to pick yourself up properly since that? Because that's a lot to deal with for a first relationship and for a first sexual encounter.
Well, I would say I healed completely,
Mm.
but I still have trust issues
Oh, yeah.
because every man that I had in my life disappointed me. So
Oh,
I'm
okay.
like,
Right. Yeah.
I don't see a point in trusting a man. Yeah, which is the main reason that I haven't got in any relationship after 3 years. Cause I always feel like I ain't gonna trust them or
Yeah.
they're gonna betray me in one way or another.
So your level of expectation from day one is already quite low.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, I know how old you are, right?
Yeah.
There is a lot of benefit in you starting to work on that now. And
Mm.
it will be very difficult to do it on your own because your experiences are already shaping your view of stuff.
Yeah.
It will do you a lot of good to speak to somebody who is probably either more mature or has had more life experience, even though they may be younger.
Yeah.
Because just like you say in point number one, trust is fragile and is essential. I'm just going to say the same thing to you. In the same way,
Mm,
saying it to anybody listening to this episode, trust really is essential. And
mm,
trust only comes to life when you're really confident in who you are as a person internally.
yeah.
And, there's a lot of value in speaking to friends, family, and professionals on how to rebuild trust. Trust,
Yeah.
unfortunately, is not one of those things that you're given on paper that you need to exercise 1, 2, 3, 4. You need to put them in practice,
Mm,
whatever that looks like. So I strongly
yes.
encourage you to try and find somebody who can guide you towards building healthy relationships that are based on trust. And
Mm,
this doesn't need to be a romantic one because
yeah.
the issues that you had with your own dad, that is not romantic,
Mm,
but it has impacted you as an individual. So whoever can try and help you, move in that direction, please, 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 please engage them. I would happily recommend somebody in the UK, but I know you're not in the UK.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I know how much that will cost you to do. I got a
Mm,
few connections where you live. From our conversations before, I think you already know that I know some people from your country.
yeah.
I can reach out to them and just find out if they know somebody that gives specific help. But you just need to
Mm,
let me know whether you want it to be a faith-based support. Again, I know what church you go to and what you belong to. So if you want
yes.
something faith-based, go for that.
Mm,
Personally, I wouldn't encourage that because that hasn't worked for me. Every
mm,
answer ends up being let's pray about it, and sometimes you need a little more than just prayer.
yes, true.
Right, but anyway, that's an option to you. And then choose a non-faith-based option. I can make an inquiry again to see if that's something that can be given to you where you are.
Yeah.
Do you want that?
I think I do
Okay.
because after the relationship, I feel like I after the heartbreak of the relationship and all that, I think I feel this empty. I have this empty heart
Yeah.
that that was broken because of the family issues, and
Mm.
apparently I can't talk to anyone about it because where I live, people tend to make it like it's something usual. Like that's how homes are built. That's how,
Did they normalize abuse and trauma? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know.
yeah,
I
they
know. I
normalize it.
mean, and the trauma that I'm really not trying to say too much because then people will pinpoint where you're from. But just where you're from is,
Yeah,
has just so much trauma that extends beyond you.
true.
When you look at the history, when you look at what people have had to deal with,
Yeah.
and the behavior of parents who may have dealt with that in their time,
Yes.
could easily point to some of the stuff that you've had to deal with as an individual on the receiving end
Mm.
of that. So
Yes.
there's layers and layers and layers to it. I'll probably pick this up offline with you,
Yes.
just to see
Yes.
if I can point you in that direction. But then also, just moving over to the next point, which says, number 5, forgiveness is for you, not them. You couldn't have said it any better.
Mm.
And for me, this is a lesson I've had to learn in recent years as well,
True.
because I've tried to understand what forgiveness looks like. And it's one of the things I've struggled with for as long as I can remember.
I
Because
still struggle with it.
because I was making the assumption that forgiveness means reconciliation, but it doesn't.
Mm. No, it
Sometimes
doesn't.
actually letting go of that very same thing is what allows you to forgive it, because as far as the human brain can forget, it helps you forget if you're not connected to it.
True.
The unfortunate thing is you don't recognize how good a memory you have up until you need to try and forget something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you get it? That's the trouble. But I relate to that and I like it, because you
Mm.
went on to say forgiveness also means that you're releasing the anger from yourself so that it doesn't consume you anymore.
Mm.
So really, really incredible. Number 6, healing takes time. Be kind to yourself. You're 3 years in. Hey,
Mm.
I lost mum. Um,
Yeah.
12 years ago. Took me 9 years to get to a point where saying her name or just mentioning mama in a conversation didn't make me want to cry. But for some people, that's a year. It took a year to get to that point. There is no standard for healing. So I like the way that you put that to the end to say, be kind to yourself. And I hope you are being kind to yourself with this.
Yeah, I'm trying.
And then last but not least, every outcry has a reason. Make sure you listen. Well, if the outcry, when we spoke about this at the beginning, we were talking about the outcry from the other side. If the outcry is coming from the pastor, please pay him no attention. That's none of your business. He's got his own devils.
Yeah.
But me listening to you and through this conversation, you have an outcry. And your outcry does have a reason embedded in your personal, intimate relationships with family that may some way, somehow have found a way of nestling in your intimate relationships. And that needs attention. And I'm listening to it.
Yeah.
And I think somebody else who's professionally trained needs to do the same. So I'll pick that up with you and then we can work it out. But you guys have been listening to another episode of The Feeling Station. I'm your host, Tinto, and I look forward to catching you in next weekend's episode. Tell
me what you're feeling. Tell me what you're feeling. Now that it's over. Let me talk about my feelings. Let me talk about my feelings, yeah.
Kujidziro amai.
Love is a fire.
Rudo imoto runoto kujidziro amai.